This is Vader Reviews. We are honored that you would join us. Star Wars Visions has finally arrived, much to the anticipation of anime and Star Wars fans alike. But is the Force with this series, or will they pay the price for their lack of vision? I've rated all 9 episodes in a handy tier system, ranking from impressive to near miss to poodoo. So break out the sushi and ohagi, anime fans, as I give you my thoughts on Star Wars Visions. The influence of Akira Kurosawa's films The Seven Samurai and Yojimbo are keenly felt in our first episode, The Duel. And whether or not it belongs in the impressive tier is pretty black and white, to say the least. Directed by Takanobu Mizuno, The Duel tells the story of a wanderer named Ronin, voiced by Brian T., who takes on a group of bandits in order to save a small village. The bandits, in their mismatched stormtrooper armor, are just one of the many callbacks to the Seven Samurai. The character designs by Takashi Okazaki are truly impressive. Takashi, a lifelong Star Wars fan himself, brought out all of his old Star Wars figures as reference while he designed his characters with a unique blend of Star Wars and feudal Japan, merging the history and culture of the East with one of the most iconic and groundbreaking sagas of the West. The Duel cuts straight to the excitement, delivering action with the signature anime aesthetic, while still paying tribute to the epic duels in The Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith. Episode 2, Tatooine Rhapsody. Now this particular episode should have been music to my ears, since anime songs tend to be pretty wizard, but sadly this one left me singing the blues instead. The storyline for this episode, if you can call it that, is pretty dumb, and for an episode that builds up to a song for its climax, you'd think they would cast a better singer as its lead character. This one only barely made it off the poodoo list for me, because I must admit, I did enjoy seeing some familiar Star Wars locations, aliens and characters, and hearing Tamora Morrison voice Chibi Boba Fett while he pilots the Slave One was pretty wizard. But overall, while I'd love to sing this one's praises, sadly it hit a sour note for me. Well, something had to make it to the poodoo tier sooner or later, so it might as well be double mint dumb over here. Episode 3, The Twins. I honestly thought this was going to be one of my favorite shorts from the Visions trailer, and while Sith twins was an interesting concept, the voice acting and dialogue seemed incredibly childish to me personally. And the oversaturated art style was so simplified, it felt more like a Saturday morning cartoon than anime. I would have loved to see something more dynamic in the vein of My Hero Academia, Aldno Zero, or Cowboy Bebop as far as art style goes. The storyline also felt too open-ended for my taste. A problem I had with a few of these, in fact. But the weirdest part to me was that the two main characters were fighting in space with no helmets or respirators. But then the droid needs a Buzz Lightyear-style bubble helmet on his head at the end? That had me doing a double take, if I'm honest. I wanted to like this one, but no two ways about it. The twins was just too much for my taste. Don't worry, kids, it isn't all going to be negativity here. And while anime and Star Wars would seem to be a match made in heaven, for me, Episode 4, The Village Bride, wasn't exactly love at first sight, which is why it must go in the near-miss tier for me. I did enjoy parts of this episode, and honestly, if there was a full series that explored this Jedi character, I would be very interested to watch it indeed. The art style, music, and animation was beautiful, and while I enjoyed the world building, they spent so much time in the village, there wasn't much time at the end for anything else once things got exciting. My other complaint was that the Jedi didn't really have much to do during the finale. So while The Village Bride is a near miss for me, it's a very positive one, because my biggest complaint is that I wish we had more time with this character, because she was a pretty wizard Jedi. And this is coming from the Chosen One. You certainly can't go wrong with Episode 5 when it comes to anything Star Wars. And the Ninth Jedi is impressive. Most impressive. It was by far my favorite episode of the entire Vision series. The Ninth Jedi was written and directed by Kenji Kamiyama. And after seeing it, I'm even more excited for the upcoming Lord of the Rings The War of the Rohirrim anime film he will be directing for Warner Bros. And New Line Cinema. From the action to the storytelling, you could see the care and love for Star Wars Kamiyama and his team put into this, and I would absolutely love for this short to be turned into a full series. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, but the fight scenes are impressive. There's a speeder bike chase that feels reminiscent of Return of the Jedi, and the music by Kazuma Genouchi and Nobuko Toda is absolutely beautiful. They capture the feeling of John Williams perfectly, which is no small task as a composer. This episode brought back a lot of fond memories for me personally. From the art style to the overall tone of the Ninth Jedi, it reminded me of the very first anime series I ever saw, Samurai 7. This blended my nostalgia for Star Wars with the nostalgia I feel for the very first series that got me into anime in the first place. So I enjoyed this episode immensely, and I hope we see a continuation of this storyline in the future. And now that we've covered my favorite, let's head on down to the Puru list once again and briefly mention my least favorite, Episode 6, TOB1. Now I know they were trying to do something like Astro Boy with this, and while I appreciate the wholesome nature of this short, it fell completely flat with me personally. I didn't enjoy the art style, the storyline was disjointed and confusing, and the episode ends with TOB1 heading off to fix the environments of other planets because, in his words, that's what Jedi do. Since when? The Jedi are guardians of peace and justice throughout the galaxy, not Smokey the Bear. What is this, a Star Wars anime or some lame Arbor Day commercial? In short, this was not the droid I was looking for. But enough of these negative waves. We're back on the impressive list with The Elder. And believe me, this is the only time you'll hear me say I loved Episode 7 when we're talking about Star Wars. The Elder was written and directed by Studio Trigger President Masahiko Otsuka, the man behind series like Gurren Lagann, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Kill la Kill, and many others. One of the many things I love about this particular episode is the relationship between the master and apprentice. It is handled very well, and it almost feels like watching Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan on one of their early adventures together. The storyline is set long before the events of the Phantom Menace, so they are unprepared for the Elder when they first meet him. The Elder is voiced by 92-year-old film veteran James Hong, and he's such a great character in this. It's like an evil Yoda mixed with David Lopan, or Yo-Pan if you will. The duel in the rain is great, and the way the steam is coming off of the lightsabers reminds me of the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars when I fought Ventress, back in my younger days, so I like that quite a bit. Beyond the storytelling, action, and music in this episode, what I find interesting is that according to Masahiko Otsuka, seeing Star Wars in theaters is what first inspired him to pursue a career in animation, so he could tell stories of his own, and that The Elder may be his final work. And with his career coming full circle, he would be satisfied if Star Wars was the last thing he ever did. And while this is bittersweet, fortunately he did give the caveat that if he was offered a chance to work on Star Wars again, he may reconsider his decision to retire. So let's hope Disney gives him a call if there is a second season of Star Wars Visions. Fittingly enough, coming in at episode 8 is Lob Ocho. And while I don't want to go too far down the rabbit trail on this one, sadly this little rabbit's foot wasn't so lucky, because she only managed to hop into the near miss tier for me personally. While I enjoyed the level of detail in the art style, and I felt like they were setting up an interesting world, the reasons this episode couldn't quite make it to my impressive tier was the lackluster voice acting, particularly by Ocho, and because the story doesn't resolve at the end. Just like with The Village Bride, if this was turned into a series where we had more stories to explore these characters, I would certainly be interested to watch it. But if this is all we get from this wascally wabbit, I'm afraid to me she feels a bit too much like a Sonic the Hedgehog character found her way into Star Wars. And rounding out my Puru list is episode 9, Akakiri. I thought the art style in this episode was incredibly ugly, and the story was a bit of a downer, so to me it wasn't the best way to cap off the series. Our story revolves around a moody Jedi who tries to help his old flame save her planet from her evil aunt, who looks like a female version of Ganondorf or Akuma from Street Fighter. Our young lovers are guided to the palace by a bungling duo that reminded me of the peasants from Kurosawa's Hidden Fortress, so while I appreciated that touch, I didn't enjoy the artwork or the music in this episode. So unfortunately, as well crafted as it was, Akakiri didn't appeal to me personally. So that's my ranking of Star Wars Visions. Overall, I highly recommend this series because with the exception of maybe one or two, I liked every episode they had to offer. And with the diversity of art styles and storylines Visions has to offer, there's something here for everyone to enjoy. But how would you rank the series? And what popular franchise would you like to see get an anime treatment? Let me know in the comments below. I enjoy talking with you all, and the extra engagement really helps out the channel. I would like to thank Snowtrooper Captain Noah Dingley and I'm Just Happy to Be a Stormtrooper Adam Jordan for their generosity. This week's video was made possible by their support. If you've enjoyed our content over the years, please consider donating to our PayPal so we can continue to bring you weekly videos. This has been Vader Reviews. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications, and follow me on Twitter @VaderReviews. Join the Empire today. You do not yet realize your importance. Share these videos, and together we will rule the internet. And always remember, you don't know the power of the dark side.